Oh my word. I need to work on so much shit. I am so fucking lazy. Fuck. Oh my god. You know, I might actually, like, while I'm on this stream, I might genuinely, like, try to work on my... I have, like, one video from, I have, like, one video that I was going to get out. Like, I finally got the, like, God of the Dead's video done. And I haven't got the thumbnail finished. So, or the, whatchamacall. I haven't got, like, the thumbnail or anything finished. So, like, my issue is it's, like, I really need that thumbnail done. And, like, I need to finish, like, editing it. So I, like, definitely, like, during stream might totally, like, edit that. Just so I can, fucking hell. Just turn it. Like, I need to finish, like, editing it. So I can, like, I totally need to make sure that, like, that gets done. Because it's, like, I can't, like, have that, like, it needs to be uploaded. Like, I have been procrastinating uploading it. I just hate getting, like, so busy. Because, like, 2 days out of the week, I don't have, like, the chance to do anything. So, you know, it's, like, I'm in this, like, really crappy situation. But totally, y'all are free to ask me any questions at all. I would so totally be down to answer. I want to edit that, but I just don't want you guys to, like, accidentally stumble across, like, my NSFW content, because that's just going to be, like, really, like, awkward, like, to have on stream, like, oh yeah, hey, sorry guys, it's just my not safe for work stash, yeah, like, my 500 Anubis images. I don't want you guys seeing that. You just don't need to be exposed to it. Y'all don't need to know me that personally. You crusty bitch, die. But, like, gosh, I hate, like, trying to get ready for college and stuff, because it's, like, it eats up so much of my time, and it's, like, now that I've, like, got a new job, it's, like, I don't really even have less time. It's just, like, the motivation to work on videos, when it's just, like, so much it's, like, up in the air. Like, I need to just put, like, more, like, effort into getting things done is the problem. Like, I wanted to, like, do an edit of all those other YouTube videos I have, but, like, I'm also working on, like, more content with somebody else. So it's, like, I'm just, like, really fucking overloaded with, like, shit I have to do, and it's just, like, not fun. Trusty. I just wish I wasn't. I wish I could just be more free, but, like, at the same time I don't, because more free would just mean I have, like, less hours at work, and that means I don't have as much money. And y'all know how, like, capitalism works, you know? Why did this have to happen? No. Gosh damn it, I mean, I'm glad. I think even Anubis was, like, I kind of felt like he was not very, like, supportive of, like, me trying to get another job. I kind of, like, always felt like he was just wanting me to, like, dedicate more time to the YouTube channel, but, like, just so much shit started happening in that time period. And I'm like, I'd love to, I really need to be, like, getting into better schedules. and stuff. But it's like I don't want to be pushing myself to like a terrible like limit of just not being able to like do anything because I'm just like never motivated. And, like y'all get it. Y'all get it. I think most of you guys get it at least. I would hope you guys do. You guys aren't pushing yourselves too difficultly or too hard. I feel bad because of like how many times I had to fucking postpone this stream. Cause like I didn't mean to postpone it for like 3 fucking like weeks. Well, only for a week really, but like at the same time it was way like longer. It was way longer than I was like wanting to be with it. Like I was like wanting like, this to be like I wanted this to be last week, and then everything under the sun just happened. Like, I hate that when everything just under the sun happens. And then like you just like I'm like, oh, I want to stream. I can't wait to stream. No, you can't stream. You wanna know why you can't stream? Because you know what? Now you know what's gonna happen. Now you guess what? Guess what's happening now? Now your fucking stream's going to bug out because the stupid freaking Google doesn't know how to make itself work. Alright, I have to fight with my monitor real quick, but it's just like. Oh shit! Okay, hold on. I need to fucking hell. Okay. Thank God somebody left before that fucking showed up. Let me just fix things here. Just so that doesn't happen again. That was something. Oh boy. All right, let's fix that. Okay, perfect. It's fixed now. Anyways, yeah. How's everyone doing? Glad no one saw that. But I hope you're all doing well. I'm gonna open Photopea because now I need to work on my thumbnail real quick. Is my thumbnail for that next video coming out. Okay, I don't want you guys seeing my files either because there's not adult. There's adult content on those files. None of you need to see them. But either way, oh fudge! Hold on, I need to actually like. Shut up! You are so crusty. I hate Google. Will I like will like Google like come hunt me down if I say that? Be like, you hate Google? Damn it! No. Why do you do this? Why did you change my already preset size? I did not ask you to do that. Okay, now I have to look at. Oh gosh. I don't think there was anything in SFW there, but just in case there was. Okay, yeah, there was nothing in SFW there. Gosh damn, I'm like skating on thin ice, trying to fucking do something. I just YouTube thumbnail size. Gosh damn, I feel like I'm like literally just existing on thin ice. Okay, 2080 by 720, which is what I thought. Except, why do you? Can we all just like consecutively agree that we hate Google? Like, is that like a fair thing to like say? Like, Google's just kind of trash. I don't know. I think you guys could agree. You know. I think I could agree. Okay, so it's opening my files on the right side, but gosh, like I don't mean to have like waited so long to get this like video done. It was just like a matter of like I could not get this video out like any time sooner than what I like sooner than this, just because like getting so busy. I really hate that I don't actually like that. Oh my god. I might actually just delete this. I wish it would stop trying to open up all my wrong files. That image, unironically, I need to delete because that was a funny fucking like file I stumbled across. On some fucking game on itch.io, and it was fucking terrible. That was just the model. It was so bad. Oh my god. Okay, like I don't even know why that. But yeah, no, that was a fucking model on a game I was playing on what was it, itch.io. It was fucking god, it was terrible. It was like it's like, you know, whenever you like read like those bad not safe for work fan fictions like on Wattpad, that was essentially what I was doing, and that was just unironically the model that was there. I don't want to talk too much about it, but I was like, bro, man, dudes, they got this shit with this. Like they really They really got like the definitive version of art, dude. It was awful. It was not a. It was a genuinely, like, I mean this wholeheartedly. It was genuinely the worst fucking thing I had ever read. But I mean, like, I can't really blame a child. I don't think it was wrote by a child, but like it was clearly wrote by somebody who is not like fully into fully knew how to write. She is wide. Can't upload it with like on here, but ooh, black. Put this behind. See, damn it. This is the hard part about art. Is this part? It's the making a pretty thumbnail that doesn't look bad, but unfortunately the Morgan is too wide, so she takes up the screen. Thank you, the Morgan, for taking up the entire screen. It's like I'm wanting. She's like, if I don't want to like distort the image too much. It's like part of me thinks that like it needs to almost be like. I feel like they need to just be smaller, but like if I scrunch it up too much, it looks like this. Like there was other gods that were there. Just pull it down straight like this. Over here, we need to make this more wide. You know what's really I find really weird? Why is it that like every god of death has this kind of cold stare to them? Like, you know, it seems like all these gods of the dead, they have this like real intimidating stare to them, and I've never fully been able to understand why. But I would like to understand why I can't check my damn stream, but I guess Google doesn't care enough about me. Like, all of them have that stare, like a stare that looks at you. It's like, it's weird because it's like all of the gods of the dead are looking at you. Like, hold on, let's actually, I want to do something real quick while we're on stream, while I'm by myself. Let me open it up in another tab, maybe one that will not load some not safe for work content, which I'd appreciate, permitting that Google will let me. Let's actually take a look at the like the depictions of gods and how they kind of like, how these gods of the dead differentiate from other gods. Let's take a look at Zeus. Let's take a look at some of the depictions of Zeus. Why is there Zeus YouTube? Okay. So we have Zeus. We're going to look at Zeus Thor from Norse mythology, because we're going to get like 5 motherfucking... Like, let's take a look at some of these things. This is what I find interesting. Thor, we have Zeus, Thor, and then we're going to have... It's like another god of like some kind of combat. Horus? No, Horus was a... Yeah, Horus was a good idea. Horus... I know Egyptian people are really, like, aggressive with their mythology. I don't think Horus is a good... Sekhmet might be a good one. What was it? That Seth, the god of thunder. Baset. Baset, Egyptian god. She's still not a good... Why is fucking Felicia from Darkstalkers here? What? Oh, Basset, where are you? Okay, hold on. Let me look this up. This is difficult. You know, really, the Egyptian gods seem to be so different. They were like a lot more aggressive than the... No. Well, did Egypt even have a god of thunder? Was that a thing in Egypt? Did Egypt have a god of thunder? Hold on, let me look it up. Egyptian god of thunder. I'm pretty sure it's Seth. Positive it was Seth. Yeah, it was Seth. Seth is the god of thunder. Okay, let's actually take a no, that's Ra. That's not Seth. Okay, holy shit. What the hell? Okay, yeah, Seth was the god of the sky, god of thunder, god of the universe. Okay, I didn't know he was Yaldabaoth. Okay, we're gonna look at this. We're just gonna use Seth as an example. I think this is Ra, honest. Yeah, you know what? Ra is a good idea. Okay, let's take a look at the differences between all of these gods. We have Zeus, okay? Zeus is a god of thunder. Look at the position that he holds his lightning. He holds it like this. So in a writer's standpoint, Zeus is a powerful being who's known for smiting. Like, literally, like, the whole concept of smite comes from fucking Zeus. Apparently he also had a small dick. I actually think that's canon. So you see how, like, kind of how Zeus looks? The positions that he stands, the way that he is in. Literally just looks like Yahweh, but with thunder. Let's all be real here. Looks like this. Okay? Now let's take a look at Thor. Similar depiction. He stands broadly, powerfully. He stands very aggressively. He's very tall. He sees himself as higher up. That was Thor. Or, you know, this Thor too. And now let's take a look at Ra. Now, I know Thor technically did not create the universe, but Ra is a bit of a higher up god, also supposedly the similar situations, and, fudge. Odin was basically the Zeus of that. Look at Ra. Powerful, broad stance. All of the gods of some kind of creation, except for Thor, which is a god of thunder, which was a god of war, but so was, I think, debatably Ra and Zeus were both known as gods of war. They all stand in this very, like, broad sense. And obviously, they're very high up gods. They're very powerful deities. So obviously, them holding lightning in the air, that's something that would be, like, reflected on their kind of personality, or their kind of what they are depicted as. So, with these two depictions that we have of powerful deities, this is really different from our depictions of the gods of the dead. They all stare. The gods of thunder, specifically, all have like a smiting kind of ability, staring down with some kind of thunder, or this kind of hierarchy that I see myself higher up than all of you kind of thing. What are some other depictions we can kind of make of? Let me look some up for you guys. Let's actually take a look at another good depiction. I'm trying to think of like other kinds of deities let's look at like higher power gods. We have Zeus, we have Yahweh. Let's take a look at Yahweh. I'm spelling it with a V because that is the original spelling with it. Unfortunately, without getting SMT things, which SMT is a fucking amazing game, I can't get a proper one, so we're just going to put it with a W because that's just how it's spelled. Yahweh. Oh, God. Give me art. Not want care about his ugly name. Oh, gosh. That's going to give me a seizure just to look at. Okay, so let's look at Yahweh. Let's look at... Well, Yaldabaoth is a bit of a different situation. You can look at Yahweh, Thor, Ra, Egyptian god. Gods that specifically had titles of creation. So this is kind of different because Yahweh is kind of depicted is in many different forms. I keep forgetting that every time I look up Ra, I get images of Isis because there was that one mythology that she created. There was that one version where people thought she created the universe. I think it was the mythology where they assumed that Ra and Horus were the same being. You'll probably find people saying that they were. Egyptian mythology is very fucking weird. Gosh, what's another god that supposedly created the universe? Like, what is another god? You have Zeus... Odin. Oh, that's what I'm thinking of. Okay, so now let's take a look at other gods. Let's take a look at gods of creation. They have a very similar kind of depiction when it comes to gods of creation. White beard, old. Oftentimes people associated these beings with older kinds of figures. We have this main depiction of Odin. He was one of the three that created the universe. We have Yahweh, gray beard, aggressive, points, claims to be the father, claims to be the creator. I have no idea what the fuck this depiction is. I like to say that this is like, it tries to paint him as much nicer, but this is kind of like what I always imagined Yahweh was like a very overly aggressive being who's just like constantly looking down on humanity. See, and I like to say it's different because Odin kind of looks like he's looking forward at humanity. That he's looking more directly at humanity. He's not looking like down on it like we see Yahweh's looking down on humanity all the time. His depictions, he looks down on humanity. That's very symbolic because Yahweh looks down on everybody else. Like we see this in the text, we see this in the books. Yahweh looks very down on other people that aren't his people, so he's looking down on Earth constantly. It's nasty. Nobody wants Yahweh. People who do or just don't understand who Yahweh is. All the depictions, Yahweh looks down. Some he looks up. Most of them, like everything I see, Yahweh is always looking down amongst people. Which this is kind of funny because this is the same depiction. White beard, white beard. Now let's look at the depiction of Zeus that we don't have. Stop dragging the image. That's not what I'm doing. Zeus. How the fuck do I spell Zeus? I forgot. Z-I-U. Z-I-U-S. No, Z-I-U-S. How the fuck do you spell Zeus? How the fuck do you spell Zeus? Zeus. Greek. Okay, it's an E. I'm missing an E. Okay, now let's look at Zeus. Why? Now my thing broke. Zess. Oh my gosh. No, I'm messing up bad. So let's take a look at Zeus. I mean, there's a lot of depictions between him and Yahweh. Like honestly, There's got to be some fucking similarity between these two. But see, Yahweh always looks down on people. Zeus, on the other hand, always looks forward. Odin looks forward. These were leaders. Zeus was he's a whole other story. See, now the thing is that these old buff men, there's a whole reason for this and how it's very telling amongst people. They created the universe, so obviously people would assume that those people would be old looking. They are very knowledgeable people, essentially. These are very, it's very interesting kinds of depictions that we have of these gods, essentially, when it comes into how they are described. Like I said, Zeus, you have Odin, Yahweh. Yahweh looks down, Odin looks forward, Zeus has different depictions, but most of his depictions he's never looking down. He's in some depictions he's looking down on people. We do have a big semblance of it. Debatably, Zeus kind of did look down on people. But they're all depicted as very old-ish kind of people, So how is this prevalent to this topic of how are gods of the dead depicted? So, in a short sense, these gods were old and ancient because they were fathers and creators. Gods like Thor, or Ra essentially, but Ra always looked upwards. Ra doesn't normally have a looking down. He's always looking upwards, or he is the thing that people are looking at. Well, how are these prevalent to the topic of the gods of the dead? And what do they look like? Because all of them have some kind of meaning to the stance that they take. Creation, thunder, war, combat, but all of these gods are death. They are an embodiment of it. And what is death always doing? Well, it's always there. It's always looking at you. It's always existing, no matter if you... Oh, hello, Pasanira. It's always looking at you, even if you yourself cannot see it. And to me, that is why we see that gods of the dead always have this depiction of the way that they look. This kind of stare that they hold, because they're looking at you specifically. Because they're death. Death always looks you in the eyes. So this is very different from the depictions we see of Zeus and Ra, Yahweh. We want to go gods of chaos for that instant. Gods of chaos, let's look at Egyptian god Seth. Seth is a god of chaos. He's always got an aggressive kind of growl. Some depictions he's literally a freaking donkey. And that's actually because historically the donkeys in Egypt were considered to be omens of death, which is what I find it to be funny. But let's look at another god of chaos. We have Seth, who's a donkey. Let's look at Loki, god of Norse. Loki, Loki's depiction. See, chaotic, smile, evil. You guys get the point here. Is they all embody some aspect of what the god that they embody is. And that to me is why these gods stare, because they are in some sense death. To me, you look at Anubis is very intimidating. He has a very aggressive stare. If anyone who works with Anubis and has seen Anubis would know that Anubis is very intimidating to look at. Hel has a very gentle kind of stare. You kind of see there's two sides to Hel. She looks very pitiless, but it also at the same time makes you feel like she understands. The Morgan has this very sassy kind of stare. All of them do not look like they cast pity. But at the same time, you can't help but feel like they have some kind of sympathy. They're very they look very open to a degree, is what I would say. And to me, that's why those gods stare. I might want to make a fuller video on this. I probably will, but I just kind of wanted to make that kind of correlation of why we see this kind of situation with these gods. Please don't load in. So I just wanted to make that. If anyone else has something to add on, I'd be happy to talk about it because I think it's unique. Thanatos. Oh. I'm working on a thumbnail. really wonder where, like, the concept of angels came from, you know? What's my opinion about Horus? So, I mean, like, which Horus we talking about? So Horus in some Egyptian mythology was Ra. Some say they are like the exact same god. Um, Others say Horus was a god of just being a leader. Oh, no. I'm perfectly fine with you asking about like any Egyptian gods. Like, I know you can ask anything. It's Q&A. You don't have to be like on the topic of Anubis. I will answer any questions at all. So don't worry about that. But my opinion with Horus is, I think Horus is a good god. I think he's a very good god to work with, but I haven't like worked personally with Horus to make a full opinion on him. I do work with Isis, his mother. His name goes as far. Go back so far. We lost his info about him. Yeah. We don't really have a lot of information on Old Kingdom Egypt. There's only like 3 gods we know were very prevalent in Old Kingdom. That was Anubis, Ra, Bastet, and Osiris, I think. No, there was... Anubis was like one of the most popular gods in Old Kingdom Egypt. He was not as popular in later Egypt, but Old Egypt was very obsessed with death. As for Horus, though, again, Horus is such an old being. We don't have a lot of information on like the old Horus. We only have like Horus that started coming around mid-kingdom Egypt. But we would know that he is the son of Isis. It's just, is Anubis his brother or uncle or great-grandpa? That's the hard one to fully understand. Also, making thumbnails is fucking difficult. I feel like Thanatos is just like awkward in here. I wish it would just like let me select and be done. Trying to think if how I want to make this thumbnail, because I just got my video done. Because somebody asked last live stream we had, somebody asked me, they said, can you ask Anubis what it's like to die and see what he answers? So I asked Anubis. I have an answer, and I have just been procrastinating making the video because I was very lazy, but I'm also like working on going to college. So I'm trying to make like a thumbnail to discuss it, but it's like, it's hard to make a thumbnail like this. Stop it. The layer is not locked. I don't care. So trying to think of something that'll like catch the eye of people when it comes into like a thumbnail. What god do you work with, Pasanir? I am also super tired. Oh my goodness. Also, on the topic of Horus, people also believe that Jesus was supposedly the reincarnate version of Horus. Not sure if I believe that too much, but at the same time, might be. It would just depend on how you look at Jesus. I've had I've had many weird experiences. Well, to be honest, that is many weird experiences throughout the ages. You are not alone, my friend. You are not alone. You and I both. You know, he can hear me. I did work with Horus for a while. Still chat with him. I know he can hear me. I want to say that even as a monk for Anubis, I'm in the very same boat. I used to work with Anubis very regularly, very constantly, but throughout the times, just ended up not that I haven't stopped working with him, just I don't have a lot of time to be... Oh, goodness. What is happening? Horus can heal you. Yes, Horus can. Anubis can heal you. Anubis... And any god can really heal. I guess it's just if you give them a reason to. I don't know. I wouldn't say they even need a reason to. I've had Anubis heal me before when he knew I was sick. Sometimes he would say, just sleep, you'll be fine. Sometimes... Oh no. Oh my goodness, that hurt. I'm sorry about that. Sometimes they would give me like different answers. But I find it funny that you work with Horus, but I work with his mother, Isis, a lot. My god within is Eye of Providence. I thought he was Horus, that's why I made an altar to Horus's Eye of Providence deity on the back of the dollar bill. The Providence Eye, that's the Illuminati temple, if I remember correctly, the Eye of Providence. No, God according... So, oh my goodness, I'm glad you brought that up. So, the the all-seeing eye of God. I find that funny that people would come to that correlation because the Illuminati was not Christian. The actual origins of the Illuminati... are, if I remember correctly, it was... I'm also going to get back to playing the game now. The Illuminati was an atheist organization that was trying to unite the world under the idea of... Like, they were an atheist organization that started in France that was trying to branch away from religious extremism. So the fact that people think that the Illuminati was talking about God when they were mostly atheist is pretty funny, but the Illuminati and the Alari, there's a lot of things we don't know about them, but a lot of them have been disbanded, and I think people just like the idea of the mystery that comes with the Illuminati, but I don't think a lot of people know what they were all about. My own theories, though, even though I kind of have like a bit of a vague interpretation on them, is that the Illuminati does exist, but they're just playing strings in the back and we just can't see them. I don't think any of these celebrity accounts that we have of the Illuminati are true. I think a lot of them are just like... okay, it's like this. There's so much that's not known about it, but there's so much that like people say is true. We can't really make a lot of conclusive evidence of what the Illuminati is outside of pure speculation. So, and people love to speculate. It's like it gives them that dopamine high. So like my thought is that the Illuminati plays their strings in the background, but much like gods, they do not reveal anything to us. Or they barely do. But I've had some weird encounters with the Alari, which is like believed to be a different race of people that existed. They oftentimes correlate those people with like the Nephilim. They say that was the Nephilim at some point. There was supposedly historical evidence of the Nephilim's existence, but we also don't have a lot of concrete evidence on that alone. Believing that they were just bigger species of humans, a scientific explanation of it. I really think when it comes, it's a hard to explain topic. But I wouldn't agree with the idea that the eye that we have on the dollar bill is I don't believe it is literally God, especially since the Illuminati was atheistic groups, but I wouldn't be surprised if it might be a sign of Horus, because Horus was the all-seeing eye. And then ironically, as much as I work with Egyptian gods, we don't really know a lot about them. Like, let's be real here. the information we actually have of some of the practices and rituals that was done in Egypt is incredibly few and far between. According to my friend, who is a remote viewer, remote view of the Eye of Providence. It lives within our conscious. The Eye of Providence, the Eye of Ra, the all-seeing Eye, Allah, Jehovah, Moses, Muhammad, the One. It sounds like a bit of a conversation involving the crown chakra, the chakra eye, that is what do we communicate with the divine. But I don't really think I can sit with the notion of the eye being something that sits inside of all. I mean, I could, but I don't think a lot of people care to tap into their divinity. Those are its names. Yes, it does go by... Yeah, I would agree with that, though. It does go by many names amongst people. The Eye of Muhammad. I don't know. See, my issue when it comes into all these names for this thing is that I think it always boils down to this idea of what is truth and what isn't. Is that really what the name is, or is that what people interpret the name as, you know? Like, is that really what the I stands for, or is that what people think or not what it actually stands for? Which interpretations of that I are true is what I should probably be trying to say here. To me, I don't think there is one. My biggest debate is that there is no truth that we can find. There's just speculations that people make and hope that they can find the truth. I think like this idea of truth is found within, but I think when you pray to God, that I takes on that prayer. Let me ask, which God? Any God? That's the question. That's the question. God? Which God? There's a lot of them. If you say the Creator, which Creator? You know? If you say that you take on any God, if you pray to any God, that I takes on the prayer, I would agree with that. When you pray to Anubis, you kind of... if I wasn't so tired, maybe I would stop biting my tongue on all the things I'm saying. One thing I would agree on, the Creator. Which Creator? Ra, Zeus, Horus, Isis, the Hindu gods of creation, Yahweh, Allah, Jesus, according to some people. There's a lot of those people claiming a title. El, Baal, Baal. The Creator has many names, though, out of men. See, this is what I love. Okay, we just talked about this, and I'm going to talk about it again. This is why I love this topic. So I made this topic about the differences between gods of creation. And I would agree. This Creator probably might go by many names, but let's actually take a look at a bunch of these different creators throughout history, okay? I don't know why you're here, Lou. So, we got Zeus. We'll start off with Odin. So, I agree, we do give the Creator many names, but there's a very big difference between how these creators plant themselves. So let's look at Odin from Norse. Now, Odin was believed to be almost alongside the Norse people. But look at how Odin positions himself. He is on a throne, and he is looking forward. He was viewed as a king. He was a king of the Norse people. Someone that will probably correct me and be like, no, that's not actually how it is. See, here's the history of Odin. He was actually this god of blah, blah, blah. Well, and I know Norse people are very picky and kind of picky with their religion. Odin was a king, and he oftentimes positioned himself as one. He created the universe, and he wanted his people to be strong. But let's take a look at Zeus. Hope I don't get demonetized. Zeus is a little different. Zeus oftentimes is either depicted as looking down at people. You can see right here, looks down. Or he's looking forward with his smiting, with his divine smite, you know. He's a very powerful being. He positions himself in a very powerful way. He looks down, and a lot of times he looks angry. In this picture, he just looks like Jesus with a beard who turns water into protein shake. So in some of these pictures, he's looking forward. Some of them, his eyes are closed. He's enlightened. With all these different positions he gives himself. And Zeus's depictions are very different depending on who you ask. But again, this depiction, he's looking down at people. But let's look at a picture of Yahweh, the God of creation by Christians. Yahweh looks down at people. He's looking down at his creation. He's positioned himself down beneath his creation. He's angry. He's pointing. He looks down. He's got that aggressive look. Down, but kindness. See, now there's a depiction here. And I would agree with the notion that we probably give the creator many different names. But in both, especially with the mythology of God, or Yahweh, Yahweh does look down on his people. The whole point of Jesus and all these other divine figures is that they come to earth and they are here to, essentially, they're here to stop us from doing what God doesn't agree with. People don't worship me, I'm mad. So Yahweh looks very down on his people. Zeus debatably did the same thing. The mythology of Zeus is very, 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 very weird. Depends on which one you read. But Zeus either looks down or he looks very powerful and smiting. Like he's ready to hit something, you know? And we have Odin. Well, Odin doesn't look down on people. Odin looks forward. Odin looks... To say he looks like he's a ruler. He's a king. He's not looking down on anybody. He's looking forward, as we always see. Every depiction of Odin, looking forward, looking forward. That's what a king does. But a god that cares more about himself looks down on people, down on people, down on people. Is St. Peter, according to the Catholic religion, when they kiss St. Peter's statues, it feels like Zeus? I'll check into that. I definitely will check into that. But see, he looks down on people. He's still looking down on people. He's positioned himself down. Zeus is the same way, except Zeus is either looking forward, but he's looking forward with the concept of smiting. He was known as a god that conquered things. Or he's also looking down on people. Now, there have been depictions of Zeus and Yahweh. There's a lot of those depictions. But again, let's continue on. Let's look at some other gods that we have that are known for creation. Japanese mythology brought me here to ask a simple question. Strange sincerity occurred to me this day to lead me to watching all of your Anubis videos. Oh my! What question do you have? How can you tell that Anubis is seeking to contact you? So I did do a video on this. I think, how Anubis can contact you. On how Anubis can contact you, and how I work with Anubis. I really need to make very specific videos to help. If I wasn't so busy with college, I could, and that needs to be the next video I need to make. On how to tell if a god is contacting you. But if you're wanting to know how Anubis is reaching out to you, the best question to almost ask yourself is, what is Anubis? It's a very difficult thing. What is Anubis to you? I lost my point here. Anubis can contact you in many different ways. For me, he came to me at a time when I was very, very depressed. And I was very suicidal. I was very not feeling great. A lot of times I would feel death touch me. That was always how I described feeling Anubis. It's hard to say how... Gods reach out to people very differently depending on depending on the person. What works for me may not work for you. One thing Anubis used to love to do when I would sleep, sometimes he would lay on my back. At the time I didn't notice it. At the time I didn't know what it was, but Anubis would be in his more jackal form and he would just sleep on my back, or he would just lay on my back while I slept. Sometimes he would kind of curl up into bed with me and maybe I would feel him more like close to me or touching me more personally, and I mean touching in a non-NSFW way. sometimes those were things that he would do. Sometimes with Anubis. Give me 1 second. I need to go to the bathroom, and I can't speak. Hold on. Okay. Hello, everybody. I am back. Sorry about that. I had to use the bathroom. I could not think. All right. I want to answer this question as much and best that I can. I can't. I cannot answer your question because of a few things. Hold on. Whoa. Funny, I was about to leave. I subbed to your channel and poof, you're live streaming. I couldn't not at least... No, hold on. Okay, hold on. I hope I'm not coming off as mean. That is not my situation. Like, that's not what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to give you some good advice. And trying to speak from experience. I can't tell you if Anubis is reaching out to you for a very handful of reasons. Because gods do not reach out to people in similar ways. There's correlations. You might see Anubis around. You coming to my channel, that might be Anubis leading you to letting you know he wants to work with you. There might be other things. Like, I also work with other gods. I work with Sobek, Isis, Horus is time to time, the Morgan. I work with Seth. I work with all of these divine beings. There might be other gods that are reaching out to you. I can't answer the question because that question has to be something you ask yourself. Do you feel drawn towards Anubis in any way? When I show you, like, let me find a picture of Anubis that might help you. When I show you, like, when I show you this picture of Anubis, do you feel anything personally to you? If you say yes, if you feel like a calling, then it's Anubis calling to you. He's not going to do the same thing with me that he'll do with you. It's just how some of the gods work. And a lot of the times, that's the reason why it's hard to say, how do you know Anubis is going to contact you? There's some correlations. Like, Anubis likes chocolate. He might be poking at you to go buy some chocolate and appreciate it. He might be trying to teach you something like he taught me. Like, when I was suicidal, depressed, and wanting to die, Anubis was right there to help me understand that I didn't deserve to die. And he was trying to help me understand how to appreciate life. And it took me quite a long time to fully understand that. It took Isis also helping. But eventually, I learned it. They're going to reveal themselves to people in such different ways. There's no full way to understand if one person's sign means that's your sign. Like a big thing. There's 3 gods we have that are associated with lightning: Thor, Zeus, and Baal. I work with Baal too. I work with Thor as well. I debate time to time. All of them are associated with lightning. If I could say, send me a lightning sign, which god is it that sent me the lightning sign, you know? Anubis is not an only god of death. You have the Morgan in Hell, Thanatos, Hades. All of them kind of communicate differently. So, if you think it's Anubis, it is likely Anubis. And it's as simple as just making an altar. And if you feel Anubis coming to you, if you feel like your prayers are being answered, you feel his energy, you feel tapped into your chakras, then your chakras, when you're communicating with him, if you communicate with him and you feel like empowered, or like you feel very happy, or you might feel very sometimes sad. One big thing about Anubis is you might feel sad around Anubis. Like if he's with you, you might start crying. Because sometimes when it comes to Anubis as a whole, he's a god of death. What's one big thing associated with death? People are sad when they die. Sometimes people are sad because what they'll leave behind. Some people don't want to die. Maybe you have things that you're holding on to that Anubis is trying to help you learn how to let them go and move on. That's one big thing with Anubis, is letting go. That's one thing he's always trying to teach people. I work with souls that haven't moved on. The biggest thing that I always find is that they're not able to let go. So Anubis might be working with you or coming to you to help you understand that lesson. You might feel angry with Anubis. You might work with Anubis and you might just be mad all the time when he's around, because likely that whatever he is, what he embodies, is affecting that part about you. He's a being of death. If you would die and be mad, then perhaps that's how you can feel. It's really hard to fully say if a god is willing to work with you or not. But the fact that you're here, the fact that you have been called to my channel and something has interested you, as again, I'm a monk for Anubis, to me that is signs that Anubis is likely calling out to you. But that's something that you have to answer yourself. I can't answer it for you. So I hope you understand where I'm coming from. And this is not me trying to like trying to dismiss you here. This is just me giving you from my own personal experience. Also, the well-groomed dog, yes, that is very much Anubis. From multiple of my experiences with Anubis in dreams, he will normally show up as a dog, and he will follow by your side as much as it can. In my situation, my life is going to change dramatically in the coming year, where a true ego death of my entire past is coming. Don't ever die. Your consciousness is energy, and every cannot destroy your life. For ego cannot destroy your life forever. Or destroy you. You live forever. It's again. I really hope that this. I hate that I cannot give you the most concrete, fully answer. If you go to like a church and you ask, how do I know Jesus is contacting me? You have all these people, oh, well, Jesus comes to you in many different ways, and likely you'll just feel his loving energy. That's, I mean, to me, I personally have issues with Jesus. I don't like Jesus. Me and Jesus do not get along. I've had like full-on debates with Jesus before. I have told him how much I do not agree with his actions. I feel like if I could say anything, it feels like I'm in like an arm wrestling match with Jesus. I feel like we're arm wrestling for battle of ideals, because I don't agree with his ideals. I really don't. I have wrestled and fought with Jesus many times. And my videos are gonna keep coming. My next video that's coming out is I asked Anubis, or somebody asked me to talk to Anubis about what it was like to die, and I have a video of that, and I want to post it here soon. I was working on the thumbnail of it right here, so stay tuned for that, because that's going to be a very important video to come. I just hope I worded everything that happened there appropriately. But I really want to say, I really want to emphasize this with people. Death is not a joke. Death is a very important role in the human cycle, and it is very important to us coming to an understanding of things. If I had this experience today where I was in a car, and I was on a really bad interpass. I was getting ready to go to get my hair cut. And I'm sitting at this stop sign, and I just noticed this car pulls out at like a terrible time. And I look over at this car, and my first thought is, if the car behind it were to just run into it, and that car would start like driving towards me, my first thought was, I think I'm dead. And it was just like that process of accepting death. Like, that car's coming towards me, it's going to hit me, I'm going to die, I think I'm dead. And there was that just quick process of, I'm gonna die. I'm just gonna die. And your point, which you say, is, I believe that fear of this ego death, and my previous admiration of his mythology, perhaps I feel synocracy is something I can't ignore with Anubis. Oh no, what is... So, ego death is such a weird topic to talk about. We all die spiritually. But that is what allows us to be awakened to a higher state of existence. And the number one thing, I always love this with Anubis, the number one thing you'll find with Anubis is you will always be humbled if you try to flaunt an ego amongst people. And for a big reason, this is the same that can be said with all these gods of the dead, especially the Morgan. I swear Anubis and the Morgan have some correlate. They work together in some way. I wish I knew how. But there are two gods that it's like, you have an ego, they don't care. A lot of these gods, they're gods of the dead. They do not have pity. They have sympathy, but they do not have pity. And my description of the dream I had, the biggest thing with Anubis and the gods of the dead was they did not have pity on anybody. But it seemed as though they had sympathy. Hel, I love Hel. She's just an amazing goddess. Hel was like looking at a beautiful woman. But that beautiful woman did not pity your situation. I remember I was crying my eyes out as I was sad that I had died, but it seemed as though they did not have pity for my crying. But it seems like they had sympathy. It was like they were sad. They knew I was dying. They knew I was sad because I had died. But they were not going to be able to cast pity on me. But they're gods of the dead. If they cast pity, they have a biasment. They can't do that. They're meant to judge your soul. So they can't have pity on anybody. But that's the same thing. When you die spiritually, you really have to let go of that past self of yours. If you can't let go of that past self, you're never going to move on. And that's kind of what it's like with death. You have to be able to let go of the past in order to finally be able to move on. From experiences with the dead, I work with the dead a lot, souls that cannot move on oftentimes invert themselves. If they're holding on to something, that soul will invert and start acting on emotion rather than conscious. Souls operate on a very conscious level. They're very aware of their actions. Sometimes they're unaware of what's around them, but they're aware of their existence. When a soul cannot let go, it inverts itself and becomes something more demonic or something that impulsively acts on emotions. This is why we see like demons. This is why we see, or not demons, I don't really want to call them demons. This is why we see ghosts that get so aggressive they keep slamming on things, or ghosts that just sit and cry constantly, or ghosts that are like constantly scaring people because they're lashing out in anger at people. They only do this because they do not respond consciously. They respond solely on emotions. Sometimes they don't invert, but they get so caught up in something in their past life they just don't move on from it. They stay stuck in one place. And that's kind of the problem. So it's metaphoric for what you should do with your own ego death. You say that, the fear of this ego death is a big thing. And I want to say that I understand what might be happening in your life. I'm getting ready to move to college here in a couple months. When that happens, I'm likely not going to be seeing my family anymore. But we have to leave things behind in order to get to a better position. Never leave yourself behind, but sometimes other people do have to be left behind in some way. And by yourself, I mean negative traits that you're ready to lose. That's what you need to leave behind. Your past needs to be left behind, but do not leave who you are behind. If you're a very optimistic person, don't change that. If you're a very happy-go-lucky person, don't change that. If you're a very hateful person, that is something that should probably be changed, but maybe understand why you're so hateful. Maybe you can find a way to appreciate things you don't like. I mean, I did. It's all about perspective, really. You get what I'm saying? Death is a scary thing for everybody, but like Gandhi said, it's just like a natural part of life that we all must go through. It's so hard to talk about these things because it always reminds me that I need to make some videos on this. I've been so obsessed lately with understanding the truth. I want to tell a story now again because I know I've been talking so much about this ego death, but it's such an important thing to talk about. I have a big hatred for Christianity, okay? Like, I do. I hate Christianity with a passion. I don't like Christians a lot of the time. I don't really have anything against Christians. I do believe they deserve the right to practice their belief system. But, like, when I say I don't hate Christians, or when I hate Christians, do you guys know who I'm talking about? Like, I don't hate you, but you know exactly the kind of people in your faith that I'm talking about that I hate. Like, most Christians, when you say you hate Christians, their first thing is, yeah, they likely hate all those, like, Christians that sit in the streets and hold up, Jesus is coming, repent for your sins. I think any Christian that gets offended when somebody says I hate Christians oftentimes just like doesn't know that like I think they know it's talking about them and that's why they get offended. But like I said, I hate Christianity a lot, okay? I don't like it. I don't like the religion. I arm wrestle with Jesus all the time. I don't agree with his ideology, but I still think that he was a divine figure that existed. I don't even agree that he was a good person. And at one point, I had this encounter with Jesus. I had so many encounters with Jesus, guys. And, like, they have never been described as other people would. If, like, I told a Christian my response, they'd be like, that was Satan! No, it was Jesus. And all of my encounters with Jesus were different than what other Christians would describe their encounters like. Normally they all say, oh, I met Jesus in a dream and he was this loving and caring figure. For me, it was my first encounter with Jesus in a dream was I had talked to him like when he was in the desert. And my encounter with him, I was yelling at him. I said, why the hell did you claim to be the Messiah when you weren't the Messiah? And Jesus didn't really have an answer to like a lot of my questions. And I don't even remember what happened too much in that dream. But my second dream with Jesus was more of an encounter that I had when I was meditating. I had this encounter that I was stoning Jesus to death. I had found him in the desert and I just started rapidly stoning him to death out of anger. And I looked into Jesus's face and I saw somebody was just scared. And I'm like, he was scared. Well, Jesus is a divine being Why is he scared? And then something occurred to me in that dream, which was, if Jesus was a divine figure, if he was truly this amazing, or if he was a divine figure, I think my stoning was justified. But if Jesus was just a normal human being, then I think we can't hold him too accountable for what his faith would do, because he didn't know that his faith would go and do that. So I'm trying not to go too much onto the story because it's important to understand my context. And my last encounter with Jesus was this. I had like multiple dreams that I crucified Jesus, multiple dreams that I had gotten a whip and hit Jesus. And one of the dreams I had, I remember I put the whip down because I felt like I just could not hit somebody like that. I thought it was just wrong to be hurting somebody, especially like in a crucifixion kind of way. And I remember in that dream, that was like the last encounter I had with Jesus before I had this like conversation with him. And I said, you know, everybody thinks you're amazing, but you genuinely seem like you were just coming to this earth to proclaim yourself as a higher title than you actually were. Like, there's no evidence of all these claims that people thought you were. Okay, I need to pause this because I cannot concentrate. And at that time, I remember I told Jesus, I said, I want to know, what do I need to do? I deconstructed him and debased him in front of him. And I said to Jesus, I said, you are a construction of text. All you are is a fictional character given a realistic persona. I said, you are not a divine figure, and this is not who you are. And he like faded into like just different, he just faded away in text. And it made me realize at that moment, trying to recall events. Long story short, at one point I accepted Jesus into my heart in the same way I accepted Isis, Horus, Seth, Sobek, Anubis into my heart. And when I had done that, I had finally saw how to finally deconstruct Christianity. I saw the truth behind the religion. To me, that was what Jesus revealed to me. Now, again, I hate Christianity. But when I let go of my ego, I was able to see something that was much more... I was able to see the full picture. And for me to do that, I had to expose myself to the thing that I did not like. And that was what gave me the ability to understand what I was seeing. And that's how I came to that conclusion, that Jesus is not who he is described as. And not only that, that Christianity's foundations and what they're based on. I even asked Jesus, I said, I want to know. I said, can you give me the strength to stop this religion? Can you show me the truth that everybody else has hid? And that's when I started seeing a grander picture of things. I started seeing Christians, I started hearing the accounts of Christians, and even just then, things started like just booming in all these like religious groups I was in. Reddit, I start seeing more posts of people discussing Paul and how he's a false prophet. I start finding all this information about the book of Revelations being deemed heresy. I start finding a bunch of other forgeries they believe was founded in the Bible, and I'm like, it seems like what I have to do is understand where the church came from, and that will give me the ability to destroy or debase the religion in some way, or at least stop it from being what it is today, which is not a loving religion. But it's all, when it comes to ego, you really have to let things go, even things that you hate. You have to try to understand why you hate it. Like this boss is annoying. I have no fucking control because this stupid boss keeps throwing shit I can't dodge! Like that! I wasn't even in the way! See? I am sorry if that made no sense. I was trying my hardest, but I think I talked too much on personal experience. But the main message of the story is you have to be able to let go of not only things, you have to be able to let go of something. That should be it. That's the message. I conveyed the message, guys. It was in the most sloppy and frustrating way that probably made someone bash their head into the keyboard trying to understand. But I got the message across either way. I am exhausted. Biggest thing with Anubis is letting go of your past. I'm probably going to do a podcast here soon on that. Like, I would like to have, like, a bunch of Christians in here and, like, talk about, like, Paul as a whole and should he be rejected. The question is, ego death of my past are all good things in people that have been in my life, but at the expense of being truthful to my own self. So, I'm kind of confused. Are you saying that you feel like the ego death of yourself is a good thing, but that would come at the expense of yourself? Am I understanding that right? Do you think that your death will effectively be like would effectively be the like, do you think that your death, like your ego death, will mean the end of yourself? Like, again, do you think you're not going to be you after death? I'm just trying to understand you better. While trying to fight being exhausted. Oh my gosh, I can't. I am trying to focus. Because, like, if you're gonna have like a spiritual death, or when I say ego death, I mean this persona. I'm not a metaphysical death, but a death of ego. Okay, so you're talking about a persona death. Okay, you should not be scared to have a persona die. Because, again, in the end of the day, so this next coming year, the person I am now will die forward. Well, that's a good thing. I mean, debatably, that's a great thing to have. Because that means that you are changing. You are shedding your skin. Like, okay, sometimes death is not a good thing. Sometimes I gotta go connect months. Please keep making videos. Oh, I definitely will. I will be on live tomorrow. I'll be live tomorrow with my other podcast. We're gonna be doing a reading of the Gospel of Thomas. So you can definitely, if you want to, you can come in and tune for that. We're gonna be doing some reading and interpretations. We would love to have more interpretations from people. So you're totally down to tune in for that if you want. But yeah, thanks for coming out, my friend. But like that's a good thing that you're dying every year, though. Because the more you die, the more you evolve and enhance yourself. So it's an important thing to know that if you're dying, it means you're changing. Not all the time do we change for the best. I mean, last year, I debatably did not die for the best of things. But this year, I did not die for the best of things. I really struggled this year. It took me a long time to fully get myself figured out. But that's okay. That's okay that you don't always have a good death, because a lot of times those hard lives, those hard personas you have, those are what ended up making like the best use. I like, oh my gosh, this year, you have no idea how terrible I was. It was bad. The fear this coming ego death is that it will be at the cost of all the good things in my life. I understand your fear, I do. But sometimes those good things going is how we... I want to say letting go of those good things is how we end up... I do genuinely think, I personally think Anubis is seeking you, but I myself cannot say for sure because I am still not Anubis. And it is important that you understand how Anubis reaches out to you, you know, personally. But I like I said, I respect your fear of ego death, I do. And just because you lose some good things in life doesn't mean that that's in itself is a bad thing. Because, I mean, like, let's think of like this. You lose a friend, okay? Not like in the sense of death, but like, you lose a friend group, okay? But then you gain a lot of newer friends that are better. Maybe that friend group was like really good. Maybe you had like a lot of good memories with that friend group, but now they're gone. Is there something wrong with that though? I mean, yes, debatably, they had, you know, they were what gave you all that love, all of those memories, all of that happiness, and they're gone. But like I said, that's not a bad thing though, because that makes way for new people to come into your life. That makes way for there to be new things that you will experience. I think a big problem with modern society is we don't let things go. We don't move on. We're scared of change. But that fear of change is what holds us back from being able to fully be our true selves or to allow ourselves to evolve into something higher. I think that's a big issue with people. We're afraid of dying in every sense possible. But we shouldn't be, because how are we ever to truly understand the universe if we are incapable of letting go of things, you know? You shouldn't be afraid, but I understand why you are, and I respect why you are. But you shouldn't be I'm not going to say you shouldn't. I'm going to be 100%. It's not that you shouldn't be afraid. But because honestly, maybe we should all be afraid of things that we don't understand, or all, you know, it's a genuine fear that I think is genuinely like reasonable. But just try to understand that how can you experience newer things in your life if you're not willing to let things change? Even if it's at the cost of good things. We can't keep all the good things in our life. You can keep some good things, like I'll always be gay. You can keep your sexuality, you can keep your orientation, you can keep your type. I mean, your type of men or women might change depending on, but like, it is, again, it's a fear of change, but you should not fear change, because you yourself are going to change throughout your life, and it's important to change, because sometimes it's important to understand what change you don't want to go through. Every year we're faced with newer challenges that come into our life, and we should try to take those changes head on, those new challenges head on, to see what they'll teach us. Because without those experiences, we get nowhere in life. We should also, like, not be dying to a bunch of stupid freaking robots, but, huh. What a fitting answer. It fits more perfectly than you could know. Now, it's an answer that many people struggle to come to, but I only got to that answer by being... I got to that answer by being in your shoes. Perhaps one day you'll come to the same answers as mine and become a good... Be a good... I don't want to say prophet, but you'll be a good... good philosopher, or a good person who understands the universe. I always kind of look back at Buddha. Buddha kind of did the same thing. Buddha was born in a wealthy family but sacrificed all of it to be poor. He did it to be poor so he could understand the world better around him, because when you have money, you don't understand the world as much. See, and Buddha never feared change. Buddha changed his life, especially for the negative, and it helped him see the world in a better perspective. I think that a lot of people, I hope, would understand that bad things in your life deserve to be there. I got a haircut today. It was not a perfect haircut, but it helped me understand what I want in a haircut in the future, you know? So is it really a bad thing if I learn? It's hard to define. Is it really a bad thing if we learn how to improve from it? The Holocaust was terrible. It was an awful event. It really was unnecessary, because there were better ways to communicate nuclear war and why nuclear war is bad other than killing a bunch of innocent people. But it also showed us just how bad Christian extremism can get and why it needs to be stopped. Just remember that change should not be something that is feared. It's something that should be understood. I mean, it's not that it should not be feared. It is something that it is understandable to fear. But it is something that we should try to appreciate. We need to appreciate change, even if that change is not good. A lot of times that bad change is also what effectively allows you to, like, become, like, I'd say, a better version of yourself. Those bad experiences help you get the experience you need to understand what not to do in the future. And if you never experience those bad things, how would you know not to do them again? The only problem is that we have debatable actions that it's like, yeah, they were bad things, but they seem like the punishment for those bad things was not necessarily the best. I'm looking at you, Yahweh. Well, don't disrespect me again, or I'm gonna flood the ocean, or I'm gonna flood the world. Nope. That is terrible. It is terrible. Killing a bunch of people because you are upset. I think the person who needs to learn change is Yahweh, but that's just me. And I think actually, like a societal standpoint, the lack of wanting change to happen, if you look at modern politics, you see that executed perfectly to a T. Perfectly to a T. We see people in modern politics not wanting change to happen. Oh no, the inclusion of gay people? See, I don't want to accept the fact that my belief system might be outdated and is not going to be prevalent in society. So I am going to fight everything to prevent change from happening and try to force the world to go back in time to when it was an entirely different world, because I can't accept my belief system changing. It's almost ridiculous of how change is done, because it aggravates me, because people just don't want to change because it's too hard. People want freedom and security. They want the ability to be free inside their own head, in their own world, with their own belief system, and they want the ability to not have to question anything, and they want the ability to only be right, and nobody else can be right but them. And that in itself is why we get people, why we have society in the state that it is today. And this is what pisses me off about it mostly, is, like, my grandma, I had a conversation with her the other day. I asked her, I said, how are we supposed to, I even asked her, I said, well, how are we supposed to understand the world better if everybody just wants to be around the people that are like them? And because my grandma said, she goes, you surround yourself by people who think like you. You're not supposed to surround yourself by people who don't. And I asked her, I said, what the fuck is the point in that then? How is anyone supposed to understand the world when you only put yourself around people who are like you? No, it's the exact same notion that I think all boomers just have. Nobody wants to ever try to understand other people. They want to be understood, but they don't want to understand other people. They want everyone else to put forth the effort to understanding them, but they don't want other people to do the same. I'm gonna quote Tears for Fears here. Everybody wants to rule the world. Everybody thinks they're right. Nobody can be wrong. And it's stupid. I even think when I debate with people, I debate with Christians all the time, my first notion is, are Christians really trying to argue their existence of this God, or do they just want to be right? Is that it? Like, are you really trying to defend your God, or do you genuinely just want to be right? Is that all you look for? Are you actually trying to prove the existence of your God, or do you just want to be right because that makes you feel good? It makes you feel good to be right. Is that all you want? That's why people look for apologetics. They don't provide answers. They provide excuses. And people would rather opt for excuses than answers. And it always aggravates me because I hate this. I hate that everybody lives in their own head. Nobody lives in reality, because if they did, they would see that everybody in the end of the day is a person who bleeds red. We all live and die. There's nothing different between us. It's like one thing I always criticize Christianity for is that Christianity thinks there is something different between people. If you're not Christian, you're bad. If you're Christian, you are Christian, you're good. And it puts that division. It creates an unnecessary division that I just don't. Oh my fucking God. It creates this unnecessary division that I think Jesus deserves to be criticized for. But again, not really trying to go on to Christianity rants here, but I genuinely think everybody surrounds themselves by people who fit their belief system, so much so that people just ignore. Really? I just don't think people in modern day society are capable of just respecting or understanding that other people exist outside of their world. Persona 5 actually called this out and said that humanity does this, and humanity lives in their own head. People want the Book of Revelations to come true, not because people will be saved, but because it makes them feel good, that they'll go to heaven, and they'll get to see everybody else that was wrong and didn't listen to them stuck down here. Ha, look at me, I was right, you were wrong. That's all it is. That is all it is. But people don't see that because, simply put, they don't want to. At that point, let's just all live in our heads and fight for all being right. And hey, haha, guess what? That's what leads to Civil War! And it did! It's called the Revolutionary War. It happened, it was terrible. But hey, everybody was right in that. Everyone wanted to be right. Aha, I want the right to own slaves. No, slavery's bad. No, you're stupid. Let's just fight over it. Let's just needlessly have bloodshed. Because I can't afford to be right or wrong. I can't afford to be wrong, and you can't afford to be right. I wish society would be better. Really. Okay, that's it. I can't fix everybody else being terrible, but you know what? I can at least be a beacon or some kind of understanding that people can maybe try to, be for. Maybe I can help other people understand, and if people want to prove my logic wrong, then I challenge them to, because you know what? Unlike them, I can be wrong. Oh my gosh. Long story short, don't be like the rest of society. Be the person that you know you should be. And if that person you think you should be is wrong, then be willing to accept that who you are is not good. Because if you sit here keep thinking that you're the best person in the world, then you're never going to change. You're never going to grow up. You're never going to see the world through the eyes of other people. You're only going to see the world through your own. That's just the thing. We're so divided because of that. We've realistically been divided since the fucking early days of the planet, the Bronze Ages, when that was really prevalent. It's what I just don't like. We're all people. We all exist. We got all these hundreds of different denominations of Christianity, but they all don't like each other because all of them aren't right, because one of them isn't right. Early Britain was divided so heavily on that topic they killed each other for it. I fell. Oh well, I took him out with me. Regarding Anubis, would it be okay to remain in contact with you, perhaps via email? I mean, yeah, you're fine to keep in contact with me. I have Discord, Facebook, Telegram. I have Kick. I don't want to keep using that. It depends on just whatever you want. I can use email if that's simple for you. If you want Discord, I can use Discord. You'll have to mind my Discord name though. My Discord name's pretty. I will. I see something real quick. Oh my, I have not been streaming for that long. It feels like I've been streaming for much longer. Showstopper. Like, does anybody else? You have any other questions? Because I'm still down to answer things. What's my email? You're gonna laugh. I'll send it in chat so you can get it. It's bugging out. Oh my gosh, if I could stop bugging out. Ugh. Ah, my eyeball. I got you, my friend. Here you go. Oh my gosh. I also just want to say this to everybody. Anubis does not play favorites. So one big thing a lot of people forget are, okay, so this is gonna go into like a rant about modern paganism. One thing I think is wrong with modern pagans, or that some of them genuinely just have protagonist syndrome. Just a little bit. From a lot of my own experience with pagans. You get these pagans who are like, yeah, I'm a priestess for Hephaestus, and listen to what I have to say, because nobody has worked with her as much as I have. I know exactly like what she is. I think modern paganism like sometimes falls into this terrible situation of everybody just kind of thinks they're more important than they are. And it's like really hard to trust what a god... Motherfucker. I swear. It's like really hard to tell, like, what God is working with you and what God isn't. Like, I don't know how many times... Gosh, I had this one woman who was like, you know what's the hardest part about God spousing? Wanting to die so that you can go be with your God spouse. I'm like, no. No, that is not God spousing. No. No, that is psychosis. No, if you want to die, if your God knew that you were going to want to die because you're in a relationship with them, they are not going to God spouse you. Why? I can never understand these people. I don't think anybody knows what it means to be God spoused. They think it's such an important title. No! Anybody can be God spoused. It's not a fucking, like, you are not anointed. Anubis did not be like, yes, Kemetic monk. Yes, I pick you, God spouse, you my husbando. Ooh. No. But like, dead ass, that is what... You guys didn't hear it. Anubis just gave me, like, a laugh and gave a thumbs up. It's like, no, that's not how that works. But you don't know how many people have, like, those accounts. Like, it's just like, all of them are just like, yeah, like... It was so perfect. Like, I have like a fucking harem of gods that all fight over me. It's so bad. I hate these stupid fucking gods. Alright, so after this level, I'm gonna do a tarot card reading. And that tarot card reading is going to be the reading for this month. So I just want to make this clear. When I do this reading is for whoever the gods are wanting it to be for. It may not reside with you. That might be because it's not for you. It may reside with you, and if it does, then maybe it is for you. Maybe it doesn't like reside with you, but to some extent you feel like the message is clear to you. So this will be a reading. Anyone's free to catch it. I'm just... Oh my god, stop shooting me. This reading is just something that... just a general reading. I'm going to make like a longer video on it on YouTube. So I just want everyone to know that. A lot of times when it comes to tarot card readings, people have a tendency to be a bit opinionative, so... I don't know why my chest feels weird. get my cards out now. What's your opinion on Weta, Anubis' brother? Oh my god, dude. Oh my word. Okay, Weta. Why is my nipple inflamed? So weird. So, Weta, I am not sure. I have never worked with Weta. I've asked Anubis. I said, who is Weta? I have never gotten an answer. But something does not sit right with me. Because Seth is depicted as black. But when people work with Seth, oftentimes people say Seth is white. So, in short, I have no clue. I have tried reaching out to Weta. I've never gotten anything. I genuinely think Weta is Seth. I think it was a different depiction of Seth. It's very hard to say because Weta's mythology is very, very distorted. Some people even say it was just a different depiction of Anubis. It's hard to say. Now, on to my tarot card reading. Let the oracle guide us. I am the oracle, so I guess let me guide you. Alright, so just a heads up with my tarot card readings. I use a moon tarot deck. I use a moon tarot deck. I do not use traditional tarot decks. I tell stories with my readings. This card, for some reason, I was drawn to. I'm already going to put that card down after I was just shuffling my deck. I tell stories with my readings. My stories are meant to try to predict things in the future. Not really, they're meant to kind of tell a story. They may reside with you, they may not. I'll give you my interpretation, but you might have an entirely different interpretation. So, in short, whatever message you get from them, I may not give the message you think the cards give. If that's the case, simply put, you might be able to come to your own conclusion. This is just from my these will just be my interpretations. This will just be my story that I come to with. You might, again, have an entirely different opinion, and that'll be just fine. Now let's get into the shuffling. Cards are very, very distorted. I'm gonna give my cards a kiss. May Nynx guide us. May my Lord Anubis guide us. May Anubis tell us what people need to hear. What do the people, whoever may see this message, the universe, what do we think the people need to hear? All of these people, what are they needing? Hard to say. I can't speak for people. Sometimes the cards don't have answers. Sometimes the cards are not meant to answer you. Sometimes the cards are just supposed to be a slight stepping stone. Other times they're meant to be something more significant. Maybe a better understanding of everything around you. Really hard to see. You're getting a lot of red. A lot of red I'm getting. This is rare. I don't normally get red. There's a lot of red. Red and violet. Those are some interesting. That's like I'm getting colors. My goodness. Like gods are clashing. Got 4 cards. Let's keep seeing. It seems like there's a lot that needs to be said. I guess I should have been more direct. What does the world need to hear? Well, the world needs to hear a lot of things. But it's hard to say fully what exactly the world needs to hear. Okay, these cards are not wanting to go in. This card really wants to come out. Like a lot of red. I'm getting like so many different colors. Almost nauseating. Ugh. Gosh, who are you? Who the ever the hell this is? You have a lot to fucking figure out. Oh my god. Somebody is very clearly... whoever is truly going to... This message is going to resign with. It might be a lot of people who get this message. We're all one and the same, and we all go through different things. Multiple people... This might be a message for multiple people, but whatever multiple people that is, y'all need to get your shit together. Holy crap. I say that because it's just like, it's aggressive. It's like, there's a lot of anger. I feel like, just very, like, annoyed. It's just, it's like agitating. It's like having like a scratch you can't itch, and it's like getting so frustrating that you can't like get damn itch scratch. Like, you know what I'm saying? I think a lot of people, like, they understand that. That's just what I feel like. The cards are just this is like something angry. I don't know if the gods are angry or if the cards are angry. I don't think this is Isis, because Isis only draws 2 cards. I'm on 5, but I need 7. Need 7 cards. That's how this tarot reading works. This card. Okay. Need 1 more card. Okay, I'm just gonna say this ahead of time. Whoever the fuck this reading is for, good gods, fix your fucking life. Holy shit. Whoever all this reading reaches out, you got a lot of work. And I mean that wholeheartedly. Work on yourself. Good gods. It's like frustrating. It's like there's a sign. It's like a message people are trying to convey. You not only, it's like you're ignoring it. It's a message, and you're just like, you know what? I'll sleep on it. You know, I don't really need it. I want to yell. It's like a frustration. That's how I feel. Is anybody just like really frustrated? Are we all just like having a hard time lately? The world is in a pretty difficult state right now. But it's important that we're frustrated about it. Because if we're not frustrated, then nothing gets done. If we're not if we're not comfortable, if we're not uncomfortable, we get nowhere and we fix nothing. Back to the nausea. It's like sickening. It's not sick. Whoever this is for, you're very sick, like mentally. Maybe not mentally. Maybe there's just a lot that's going on. You yourself feel sick. I don't feel like this is this the card it? I don't feel like it is. I feel like somebody is very nauseating, irritated, angry, red, purple, very colorful. Just can't get this. What is the last card? What do you mean it's right here? That is so vague. It's right here. There is 56 cards here. Which one do you mean is right here? Look, here, there's Anubis. This is all the cards. It's all my cards. Which card? Which card is right here? I'm going to shake this deck. Which card? Don't you shush me. I will bite you. Okay, there. Is that it? No, that's not the card. That's not the card either. Oh, thank you. You give me the card that says the answers you need are coming. Freaking, okay, Anubis genuinely just gave me a card that says Full Moon in Gemini. The answer you need is coming. Thank you for pointing the obvious out. My God. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I need one more card. How? Okay, you know what? I'll let you take your time. We're not going to get a good reading unless you... Okay, now you dropped the last card. Now you dropped the last card. Why did you... Oh my gosh. Okay, I love you, Anubis, but you aggravate me sometimes. Okay, so now that me and Anubis are done having our quarrel, putting the cards out, I might pull these cards up in different orders, just whatever resigns with me. Alright, so the one card I feel like is the last is this one. What card do I feel like is the first card? The middle one right here. So the first card we pull on this deck, it's time to release negativity. We already talked about this in this live stream. It is very important to release negativity. But I also pulled this card reverse, and I don't actually know if it was meant to be reversed or not, because I genuinely think I pull the cards all the time at incorrect angles. I bet you $10 all these cards are actually reversed. Yes, because I pulled them out incorrectly, just because I suck. So, it's time to release negativity. So you are in this current position in your life, whoever you are, in this current position in your life. There's a lot of pent-up things that you have that go on. You're angry. You're frustrated. Perhaps there's something going on that you fully just can't comprehend. Emotions. Don't even just look at it as angry. Look at it as anything that could be negative to you. Maybe even you're just too happy. Maybe you're so optimistically happy you've blinded yourself. That's a negative emotion. Blindness. But maybe that's not what is meant to be here. Maybe you're very sad all the time. You're depressed. You're angry. You're mad. You want to cry. You're constantly irritated. Whatever it is, it's time to let it go. To die, like we talked about earlier. The next card I need to pull in here, I feel like it's on the left and is the card before the last. The next card we pulled, the first card, which is the full moon Scorpio, then we then pull your dreams need a practical plan, full moon in Taurus. Tauruses are very strong people, very practical, they plan ahead. Your dreams need a practical plan. So where do you want to go with your life? Do you have a future? If so, then what is that future? How are you going about... The hell was that? Okay, whatever. How are you going about that future? How are you going about making your future a reality? Are you even at all? Maybe you're so negative that you can't plan that future. You have something you want to do, but you're incapable of doing it. Because, in short, how are you supposed to? You're so caught up on the past or something else that you can't let go of whatever it is that'll make this future a reality. You want to plan for this future? Well, you can't, because you have not let go of the things that are holding you back. Because you are sad, you're depressed, you're moping. How are you supposed to make a future when you're caught up in the past? Not even just the past, when you're caught up on yourself. You're caught up on the things that make you upset. The question is, how are you going to fix this? I can't answer it. It's up to you to answer this question. I'm going to give it to you as straight as I can. You fix this. It's not my problem. It's yours. So how are you fixing it? You're not? Well, if you're not fixing it, how about you start? You can't? Hate to break it to you, but you can't do anything if you can't even motivate yourself. But I can't find motivation. Now, we've all been there. Stuck in the dust, stuck in depression, stuck in ourselves, stuck in our problems. We can't move on. Not only can we not move on, we don't want to move on. Maybe you don't even want help. Maybe deep down you like being as negative as you are. Because maybe you like attention. Maybe you don't. Up to you, though. I can't answer the question, but you have to ask yourself this. How are you going to let this go so that you can go about yourself? whatever it is, I feel like whoever is trying to convey this message, this reading, is it's very stern. Whoever's trying to say this they're not biting their tongue. Maybe this is something you don't want to hear. Maybe you really don't want to hear this. But is it what you need to hear? That's up to you. I can't decide. Oh, many different cards. A glimpse in the left, a glimpse in the right. This one. Okay. Look at the bigger picture. Look at the bigger picture of everything. You are who you are now, but who are you going to be in that future? Who will you be down the line? You have this dream, this idea that you're caught up on. You're not planning for it. You're not looking at everything that's going to happen after you've let go of this moment that you're in. Why aren't you looking at the bigger picture? This is a full moon in Sagittarius, the Moon Tarot deck. You're like a bow and arrow. Like an archer who's shooting an arrow. He's focusing very heavily on what he wants to do. But you as the archer, you are not paying attention to that you are surrounded by enemies. And you fixate on one thing. But it doesn't matter if you reach this goal. Like, let's say you're going to kill this bad guy. You've got your bow pulled back. You're fixating on this one guy. But what's going to happen when you kill him? And you're surrounded by all these other people who want to hurt you. How are you going to fix this? That's the real question. How are you supposed to fix this? You forgot to take care of yourself. Now you can't see the bigger picture. But you need to look at the bigger picture. Bigger picture is you gotta get out of this situation. Or maybe you should have dealt with all these other guys before you ended up in the situation you're at. I don't know. Middle card or back card? Middle card or back card? Back card. Left eye, teary. Be bold, make the first move. This feels weird. I feel like this wasn't supposed to be here. Be bold, make the first move. I'm having trouble interpreting this. I feel like this card isn't correct. I feel like I don't have it in the order. Is it supposed to be like this? Time for healing. Be bold, make the first move. I feel like I had a lot of mixed readings with this one, and I'm starting to think the answer is found in two different stories. Please keep reading. I'm starting to think the answer is not... I'm starting to think I have the story of two people. But not like a story of two people. I feel like the story is in two parts. You have the first one, a negative, trying to see the future, incapable of seeing that future, is arrow-sided, blinded by everyone around him. But the next one, we have a be bold, make the first move, a time for healing. What do you need to release? I feel like we have two stories here with this card. So let's try to read them out. The next card was be bold, make the first move. So let's look at it like this. The first story, time to release energy. Your dreams need a practical plan. Look at the bigger picture. For the second one, we have the cardinal moon. The cardinal moon. Be bold. Make the first move. What is the first steps you need to... Now that you've finally released all of this, you're no longer tunnel visioning on one person. Your dreams, you've released all this energy. What is the first move that you need to make? You might question it. You might say, I don't know what I need to do. What do I do? What do I need to do here? And it's like, at the same time, I don't know if I can answer what you need to do. I think the question is, it's you. You need to take incentive now. Maybe you need to take incentive in yourself. Maybe now that you have recognized the first story, it's time to look at the second story. Recognize the lessons of that first story and see what it can make for your second chapter in life. Now it's time to be bold and make the first move. Fix yourself. Fix it. Fix your problem. You know it's there. Fix it. For crying out loud, for the sake of the divine, it's time to stop letting yourself be dragged down by your own problems. By problems that you're wallowing in and not choosing to fix. So be bold, make the first move, admit to that problem. Admit to everything. So that you can finally see that first picture. And once you have admitted that, once you have said to yourself, I messed up, these are my problems, this is who I am, this is where I messed up at. You look at your first story, now you're in the second story. And the repercussions of the first story are still happening. Now that you have confessed to that, it's a time for healing. The blasphemic moon. It's a time for healing. Like water dripping on the side of a waterfall, hitting into a puddle. You cleanse yourself. Your own baptize. You baptized yourself in yourself. You cleansed yourself in your own forgiveness. You've forgiven yourself and you left yourself be changed. Now it's time to heal from all of the events in that first story. Now that you can see the bigger picture. But now you have to ask yourself, what do you need to release? You're in this calming pool of water, but what is it that you need to release? What are these negative emotions that have truly been wallowing up inside of you? This is the waning moon. A gentle snow falls. You lay in the snow and look up at the moon, and you think to yourself, what is it that needs to be released? How do you cleanse yourself of these problems? But what are the problems? Maybe you don't even know. Oh, I think you do know. I think the whole point of these stories, this story in itself, it shows you what you don't know. So now that you know, admit it. Admit what you need to release. But make sure you know it's what you need to release. But I think you do. Whoever this is, I think you know what you need to release. I just think you don't want to accept it. But now we have the last card, the final piece of our story. The energy is gaining momentum. The waxing moon. It seems like there were two different gods trying to convey a message, and because of that, it seems like they conveyed it in two different ways. The first one conveyed the message in a very straightforward way. The second one conveyed the message in a much more gentle way. We have cards that are demanding. That's why I was so mixed on what I was getting. Two different gods answered the question in different ways. We have be bold, make the first move, a time for healing. What do you need to release? I think they're just two different methods of answering the same question. I think the reading is going to come off differently to people. But the last card is the energy is gaining momentum. I say your energy, whoever this is, your energy is gaining momentum. You yourself can feel the energy of yourself around you. It's building up. I want to say it like this. The energy is everything. Everything good and bad. Good energy and bad ending. It's gaining momentum. Maybe this could really be seen as bad energy. You have all this bad energy that's stirring up inside of you. It's making you sick. Mentally, you're sick. You want to vomit. I want to vomit. Reading this card makes me want to vomit. it's so much emotions that it spins round and round and round and round. You're dizzy. You want to throw up. It's like you just got off the Batman at Six Flags. Just sick. The energy is constantly gaining momentum. And these cards are telling you in different ways the process to understanding yourself. It's time to release negativity. Look at your future. How are you supposed to make a future when you're so obsessed with yourself? Like, we had a whole conversation about this on this live stream. We talked about this specifically. About people and the inability to move on, to make a practical plan, to look at the bigger picture because they're so caught up in the past and the negativity in their life. But be bold, make the first move, admit to that negativity that you yourself are caught up on. When you can admit to that, you yourself can heal yourself. You can heal yourself from all of the pain. How are you supposed to heal yourself if you don't know what you're healing? And that's the last card. What do you need to release? How can you have a time for healing when you are incapable of knowing what you need to release? Understand yourself, look inward, and understand why you are what you are. Understand why you act the way that you do. Understand how you are coming to these conclusions in life. But not even these conclusions. Understand how you are becoming who you are today. Why are you so sad? Why are you depressed? Why are you struggling? What is it that you need to release? Because whatever it is, you need to release it. You cannot heal unless you know what you're releasing. And the final card is not part of the story. It is the explanation of the story. When it says the energy is gaining momentum, you have to ask, you are letting these negative things embody you so much that it's making you sick. And you want to throw up, you want to vomit because you're sick. They're spinning around and it makes you dizzy. So before we end this, let's go back to the cards again. It's time to release negativity. Full moon in Scorpio. You have negativity. You have problems. You're holding on to something. And it's time to let go of whatever that is. Your dreams need a practical plan. You can't make a plan for the future if you're so negative. How can you do that if you're as negative as you are? Look at the bigger picture. The bigger picture of everything that you're going to see. You cannot be the archer with tunnel vision and not see that you are surrounded. You must acknowledge that you are surrounded. Be bold, make the first move, acknowledge the situation that you're in. And maybe you get out with it. Maybe you get out with your life. Maybe you do. Maybe after getting surrounded, you managed to escape because you acknowledged that you were in a dangerous situation. But you're beat up, you're damaged, you fell down the tree, you got cut. It's time to heal yourself. But where did you get cut? How are you supposed to know what to heal? How are you supposed to know what to heal if you don't even know how you were cut in the first place? But, of course, the final card, which is the energy is gaining momentum. And all these different emotions embody you and fill you. If you are incapable of being able to get a hold of them, you're going to continue being sick. Once you can recognize the emotions that are gaining momentum, you can finally heal yourself. Be bold, make the first move. Admit to your mistake, admit to what these emotions are, admit to who you are, admit to your ego, admit to your death, admit to anything you need to admit to. When you have admitted to it, it is a time for healing. You can finally heal from everything in your life, from your past, so you can finally make your future a reality. But you have to be able to identify what you need to release. And that is the message of the cards today. But like I said, genuinely feels like these cards were two different gods were answering the question, because two different gods seem to convey the message in two different versions of these cards. So I think two different gods had answered this question. So whoever this reading is for, whoever found this reading, I'll probably make a post about it on YouTube, making a more in-depth post on it. But whoever this card is for, whoever these readings are for, I hope these messages reside with you and they made sense. Meanwhile, I now feel motion sick because I have felt all of these emotions swirl up inside of me. I don't feel good. Now I feel very dizzy, and I feel like I have a lot of nausea. So, I hope your message was worth my mental strain. Just kidding you. If I could tip you, I would. Oh, do not worry for tips. I mean, I do have a Cash App, but I haven't got that posted yet. But I do definitely appreciate the offer. But I also feel like if I charged for tarot readings, I'm glad that you will be saving them. But do not worry, if you ever lose track, I will still post this on the internet, or post this on YouTube so that you may come back to it. I definitely feel like I should never charge for tarot readings because I think that's what makes my tarot readings more genuine. They don't come from a place of needing financial gain, they come from a place of genuine intentions. But with all that being said, everybody, I appreciate all of you guys for coming out. I will have a Patreon up eventually. I will have a Cash App or other things that you guys can donate to. I'll be doing more content like this if I can ever get around to it, especially due to me getting ready for college. But I just want to say to you and Mr. RL Photo and everybody else who tuned into this live stream, I thank you guys all for coming out. We will be live streaming tomorrow at 7 p.m. doing a reading of the Lost Gospel of Thomas with my partner that is in a not platonic way, my friend. Reading of the Lost Gospel of Thomas and study. So I was inspired tonight more than you can imagine. And I am glad that you were inspired. I am glad that I can motivate people to do as they need to. I wish I could do this for everybody, but unfortunately I can only settle for those who give me the time to help them. But with all that being said, everybody, tomorrow we'll be doing a reading of the Lost Gospel of Thomas. If you guys want to tune into that, you can. If you don't, I understand. It's just not for everybody. But other than that, everybody, you all have a lovely night, and I will see you all tomorrow.